So I shared this week on social media. I share about the hard time that I had when I came to Dubai. And honestly, when I landed, I got a really good job, and everything was amazing, and it was in a startup. And then, but typical startup world, we ran out of cash, and then yeah, my position was basically made redundant. And at that point, I had already moved from Houston to Tulum, and pretty much I had already spent all my savings, right? Living in Tulum. For like 3 months, I had lived in Colombia, and then I came here, and I didn't really exactly had good savings at that point, and so I lost my job, and it was really really hard because for 5 months I couldn't find a job, and I had so many different versions of my resume, and okay, this is where the story gets good. So I lost my job. I had like 5 different versions of my resume, and at some point I just couldn't find a customer success leadership role. It was like really really hard to find those, and so at some point I had to like drop to individual contributor. I was really struggling. I was really struggling a lot. I had no gas money, and I had to eat mac and cheese for several weeks because I couldn't afford anything else. I was skipping one meal because I couldn't afford 3 meals a day, and I lost so much weight because of not having essentially money to be able to buy groceries. At one point, I also had to borrow money from people. Thank goodness I've already been able to pay back everything. But I was in a really bad spot, and obviously as a new mom with no community in Dubai, no family. My mom is in the U.S. My best friends are like in the U.S. and in Tulum, and I was just like really really alone. I was really isolated, and I was really worried about whether I could make it out here in Dubai. I contemplated moving back to the U.S. and. Yeah, it was really, really, really tough because when you are a parent, obviously, if I lose my job, I'll go couch surfing at a friend's place, right? But when you have a child, you have to obviously kind of like have your home and provide safety, security, food, and I think at that point, Rumi was still in diapers. After many attempts of getting a job and many positive falls, meaning I went to the interview, looked amazing, incredible, yes, 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 this is the job, this is the job. I just couldn't get a job. And of course, eventually I found a job, and it's the job that I'm on right now. And I absolutely love my job. It's building something that I am really in my zone of genius, customer success functions. A very profound experience. It definitely taught me a lot, but the biggest breakthrough for me was how much I relied on my faith, how much I relied on God, on my relationship with the divine, whether you call it the divine, universe, spirit. I really had to anchor into that to know that everything was going to be okay, and yeah, I mean, it really had to like really shift my thinking in knowing that what this moment really called for was for me to hold the gap and to really hold the fact that I could hold it all and expand my capacity and expand my thinking, because in these moments like that, I think we is when we actually tend to shrink. And what this moment is calling for is not for you to shrink, but to actually hold the gap. And it really tests you who you are. It really tests your beliefs, your assumptions about life. And I really just had to anchor into this beautiful thing called meditation. Every morning I would sit with myself. I would hold the vision of a future that was already here, and I would connect with God. I would talk to God. I stay in a place that I was really grateful for what I had, and that I also called in my guardian angels. I call in my ancestors. Whether you believe in this stuff or not, for me it worked to know that I was not alone, and that I also needed to leave a opportunity, or actually space, for divine intervention, right? Because I'm a huge believer on miracles. I'm a huge believer that we are constantly co-creating with our life. So I think the biggest wisdom that I got from all of this is that I have the capacity to go through struggles, and I think what is important is to trust yourself that you have the capacity to solve future problems or current problems. And I know moments like this seem really scary, and there is so much uncertainty. And the thing is, like, also, if we talk about neuroscience, our minds tend to get really, really narrow, and we just don't see a possibility, opportunity, and solution. So I think moments like this really test who we are, and yeah, it was a really profound experience for me. It was profound. I really had to like let go, lose the grip, lose the control, and surrender into the moment, and try not to resist it, and praying and anchoring into myself, and believing that in the field of unknown opportunities, there were already so many unknown opportunities on their way to me. So if you feel like ever giving up, trust that you have the capacity within you to hold it all. And I know that in this human experience, that there's dark days and bright days. We have the capacity to be able to experience it all, and to hold it all, and to know that this is just a season that you're going through. And I think what is important also is that you know that you're worthy, that for you to remember who you are, for you to not let this situation, whatever situation you're going through, mean anything of you. So don't start telling yourself stories of like, oh, I'm a failure, oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed, shame. Because in moments like this is when we start going into like a spiral, and just like really getting really analytical, and getting to shame and whatnot. And I think the most important thing is to, instead of internalizing these dialogues that are negative, is to actually give yourself compassion, and yeah, and know that this doesn't mean anything about you. This is just a chapter. This is just a season in your life. Yeah, I just wanted to share that, because for me it was huge. Because at some point I was telling myself, I'm like, I'm a failure. Like, how is it that I don't have savings to back me up in this moment? Yeah, and I mean, I felt like a failure at the age of 34, no job, with a kid, and no real savings. I went into some really, really, really dark places. And at some points, I really wanted to give up. I remember this one time when I didn't get this job. I remember having this like so like deep feeling, and I was dating somebody at the moment, and I remember I was also very ashamed when when I would go to the interviews and everything went well, but I wouldn't get the job, and and I remember me not getting this one job that really wanted, and I literally like started crying, and I was on the phone with him, telling him that I didn't get the job, and just feeling so disappointed at myself. And I remember saying, I want to die. I remember saying, I want to die. And obviously, I love life. That's not the way that I felt. And I only felt that way for like literally 3 seconds. Of course, I was able to snap back out of it. And it's not that I was going to harm myself or anything. But I remember just having this thought that I was such a failure that, that I wanted to not exist anymore. And This is why I think it's important to not let these moments define us or mean anything about us. Be compassionate with yourself. Know that you're amazing and that we need your light. Yeah, just wanted to share this with you guys today because it was a really unique experience. But hang in there. If you are going through anything, we need your light. We need you on this planet. You will get through it. You're a divine being. You're divinely guided and divinely protected. With much love.